Hey, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk, and we're going to do 5 records in 5 minutes, and we're going to do some years. So the year we're going to do is 1960, so you do some arithmetic, and that was 65 years ago. So if you were born in 1960, you're old. And if you remember 1960, you're even older. And so what kind of records were popular back in 1960? Well, lots of 7-inch records, lots of rock was starting to get a little bit more pop. We got some countrified stuff here. So the first thing I'm going to show you is this Hank Thompson single, Hank Thompson and the Brazos Valley Boys, a 6-pack to go. It's in this sweet Capitol Company sleeve with a Capitol Tower on it. And of course, a 6-pack to go, as you might suspect by its name, is very much a drinking song. This was just a year after he had done songs for Rounders, which is kind of a concept album about being a degenerate. And several years after, he had a compilation album of drinking songs called A 6-Pack to Go. And so also on the cool purple Capitol, although I don't have a company sleeve for it, we got some good old Wanda Jackson. We got Mean Mean Man. So of course, and looking up on Discogs, apparently this particular label variant with the times on it is supposed to be the more desirable variants. We got Happy Happy Birthday on the other side, and so she hasn't gone full on sort of pop country yet at this point. So Mean Mean Man is some good fun. Then also on a purplish label, although this is not going to be a Capitol Records, this is going to be from a local to me artist. I know the label's a little worn, hard to see, but you got Ray Smith here. This is not Rockin' Little Angel. This is Maria Elena, which is a little bit more pop ballady, not as rockabilly as some of his songs from a year or two before. You got Put Your Arms Around Me, Honey on the back, and he's from the small town not too far away from here of Millburn, Kentucky. I like to say Millburn, Kentucky. So this is on the Judd label. Then we've got okay, the next one is going to be another 45, but it's not going to be on a purple label. This one's going to be on sort of that. I like how this Atlantic label, the silver and black looks. That looks pretty cool. Even though maybe it looks a little bit like a Detroit Lions uniform. And so this is some jazz. This is Ornette Coleman. You might be thinking that Ornette Coleman seems like some sort of a weird choice to be putting on a single. And you could see they basically had to split up this track. So Una Muy Bonita, parts 1 and part 2 on the front and back. And of course, this was released, I think, about a year or so after A Shape of Jazz to Come. And he had the free jazz album, and the sort of that term free jazz kind of getting introduced to talk about some of the more avant-garde sorts of jazz that he was going to make. So certainly not something too pop or too slick there. And then the last thing I'm going to show, I am going to show a record album. And so this was one from Dad's collection. So this is Miles Davis, Sketches of Spain, arranged and conducted by Gil Evans. Concierto de Aranjuez. Hopefully I'm saying that with the correct Spanish pronunciation. And so this was the Spanish composer, I think Rodrigo was his name, had composed this back in the 30s. I think it was a little bit controversial whether Miles should be using it, but sort of Miles Davis had gotten introduced to flamenco music by his dancer wife. And I think this is an early 70s pressing. It's not on a Columbia 2i or anything. So that's your first disappointment on Chris's Rekkid Talk for the year 2025. No Columbia